Today I'm going to show you how to light with these lights that I picked up on budget from a hardware store, as well as using the natural light coming through a window. Stay tuned. I went to a local hardware store and I grabbed 3 light bulbs. I grabbed 2 65 natural daylight bulbs as well as 1 90 watt natural daylight LED bulb. And I grabbed these 3 cans from the local hardware store as well for around $38. So I was able to keep in a very low budget. Now let me show you how you use these lights to light your subject. First thing we're going to talk about is natural lighting. What you can do is you can use just a big source like this window here. This window will be great on just lighting your subject. So my subject here is Emma. This is my daughter. So you can see just a nice light that it gives her. It gives her a very natural look. Sometimes you won't be able to do this all the time. So we're going to teach you how to be able to light around not having a big window like this. But this is a great way to do it. It's the cheapest way and it just creates a really good natural light to light Emma here. Let's say that you don't have a natural source like the window. We still have the window here, but we blacked it out a little bit. As you can see, I'm probably pixelated right now because my camera does not do very good in low light. And as you can see, you can't see Emma, your subject, very well at all because there's no light at all coming through here. So this would not be a great ideal situation to light Emma for these types of stories. But if I turn on a few lights here, there we go, that gives her a nice little light. And right there, you can see that it's giving her a little bit of a light. I need to adjust the lights a little bit because the light's coming underneath, so it's kind of giving her the shadow underneath her eyes, which isn't necessarily the type of look that we would want to go for. But I'll show you in camera what it would actually look like lighting her this way. But as you can see, the best way to go is with a natural source. Let me show you a little bit about these lights. What's nice about these lights that I talked about, these can lights, they're very inexpensive that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. They have these little clips, which is nice because you can clip them onto about anything. I have stands that I usually put these on, but I want to show if you don't have stands, what you can do to be able to put these lights on pretty much anything. So I'm just using this table. I can twist it around, move it around to get the type of lighting I want. And the thing about these lights is they're pretty cool. They can actually just lay them on a table like this if you don't want to clip them. So I can just lay them on the table. Same thing with this bigger light here. This is my bigger source here, which would be what I would call a key light because it's giving her more of the light. It's a stronger light. And that light would be called a fill light. And I'll talk about that a little bit later when I get into the camera actually facing Emma. So nice thing is you can just clip these to anything and just aim them where you want to. And you can tighten them up here and bam, there you go. There you got your lighting. Now let me talk about the difference between a key light and a fill light and a backlight, just to give you a little 3-point lighting setup. We're going to teach you a little bit about 3-point lighting because that's usually what I'll use to light a subject. Right now we do have this big source and that would be considered my key light. The key light's always going to be your strongest light hitting the subject. So we'll just go, we won't use this light. We could use this as a key if it was dark. We're going to use that as our source. So you can see it's giving her a nice light on this side of her face. But as you can see, there's a little bit of a darkness right there. So we're going to use what's called a fill light, which is always going to be a smaller light than your key. So we're just going to turn this on. And as you can see, we call it a fill light because it fills in this side of the face to take away that shadow. So that's going to give us a nice fill light. And what we like to do also is use what's called a backlight. And a backlight will be this light here. Let me plug it in. And what this backlight does is it just gives her a nice little light on her hair. And what that does is it separates her, when I'm on this camera, it'll separate her from the background. So we call that the backlight. Obviously you don't want to show the backlight with this camera. So you want to just move it off to not see it in the background. So we have our key, window, our backlight, which is right here, and our fill. What you're going to want to do is you're always going to light first with your key to see what it's overall giving you. Then you're always going to use your fill light next to get rid of the shadow, and then use your backlight to separate her from the background. So that's called 3-point lighting. Remember, key, fill, and backlight. Now, if this window was off or closed, my system will close the window now. We could use this key light instead. So that gives her a nice look right here, a natural look. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you what this looks like actually in camera, and I'll talk about it in camera so you can see what it looks like. We have our subject here, Emma, and what we're gonna do is show you the different types of lighting on her. So right now we are using the natural light coming through the window that's just hitting her. You can see it's a nice light on the side of her face there. And now we're gonna add a fill light and seeing what that gives us. So if you can see on the left side of her face, or I guess it would be the left side from the frame. Now we're gonna hit her with that light. Now we give her fill on that side. So now you can see she's evenly lit. So that gives her a natural fill light. And now we're gonna plug in the backlight to give her a little separation from the background. And I like to use a different color of light, usually what's tungsten based, to just give her a little separation. It's a little bit hard to tell here, but you can see a little bit of they call it a rim light just on her hair there. And it's a different color. Now we're going to show you what it looks like if we were to close the blinds if you had a dark room. All right, so this is our lighting without any lights on. As you can see, sometimes you run into a situation where there's not a big window, or it could be really cloudy outside and you just don't get very good lighting. So what we're going to do here is we're going to light with her key first. So there's her key light. And then we're going to light with her fill light. So that definitely fills her in. And then we're going to plug in the last light. With her backlight here. And as you can see, it gives some decent lighting. It's still not great lighting. I would never really recommend this without using any natural source because it doesn't look very natural at all. But if I bump up my camera a little bit, adjust the adjustments on it, and the nice thing is if you were using an iPhone or a computer, it would naturally do this. The cameras I have are a little bit different grade. So as you can see, if I bump it up to the right levels, like your iPhone would do, you can see that it actually creates a decent look. It's not the best lighting. It's a little artificial, but it still would be acceptable for an interview. And you can always adjust lights to move them around to give you a different look. You can move your key a little bit more to nearer to camera. That creates a little bit different look. But now she's a little bit blown out in the face, so you can come down on the camera a little bit, and that's not a bad light. If I was able to turn it off the key light, it gives her more of a sinister look. But now you can really see that backlight hitting her. Now I turn the key light back on. There you go. Now if I was able to adjust the fill light a little bit, we'll see what we get here. So we're going to adjust the fill light and move it around a little bit and see what we get. See, that's a little bit too much on the side. That might be a little bit too much forward. So right there is pretty good. The problem with this a little bit is you're getting a little bit of a shadow right here, but for most people that's not going to be an annoyance for them doing an interview. But like I said, the best way overall is to use the natural source that the sun's going to give you.